coming up on Good Morning Wilmington Live. Motorcycle Santa Rocco Malin stops by the plaza to talk about the upcoming ride and parade. Epilepsy Delaware's Executive Director, Val Budischak, stops by to talk about the foundation. Plus, Director of the Wizard of Oz at Wilmington Drama League, Christy Lewis, stops by, along with some actors, to talk about the show. And representatives from the Delaware Center for Justice stops by to talk about the upcoming non-conviction bill and much more. Be sure to tune in Monday, December 12th at 10 a.m. right here on DETV.
Good morning, Wilmington. It's Monday, December 12th, 2022, and welcome back, Matt Ford, as my guest co-host today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. It's been a while.
Yes, it's, well,
Halloween was our last.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
We're all dressed
Halloween,
up.
but now we're into the new month.
New
month,
like
new
I
holidays.
co-host with you every season.
Oh yes,
so I guess I'll see you on Valentine's Day.
Well, good morning, Wilmington. My name is Vincenza Carrieri-Russo. I'm so excited to start this beautiful Monday, or this beautiful week, with my guest co-host, Matt. And for those of you who don't know, he is DETV's very own. So no stranger to Good Morning Wilmington and DETV, but always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh gosh, of course. How was your weekend?
It was good. Listen, we only have 13 sleeps till Christmas. So
I love that. 13 sleeps
till Christmas.
I love that.
The weekend was good. I had what did we do? We went to a holiday party last night, but before that, we went to see The Wizard of Oz, as you can see here on the desk at the Wilmington Drama League. We'll tease around and talk to them soon. It was fantastic. The crowd was packed.
That's awesome.
Packed.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So performing arts,
fun.
Live theater is back, so it's exciting to talk about.
Excellent.
How about
excellent.
you? What'd you do?
Okay, so I love this time of the year where there's so many events happening.
Yeah.
I'm always so busy working at the restaurant. However, I do try to make time, especially on Sundays, which you know, family time, but we always like to try to take the time, schedule events, we call it making memories. So we decided to visit Longwood Gardens.
Nice.
Have you ever been to Longwood
You know what?
Gardens?
I've only gone in the summertime for the fountain shows.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't been in a long time during the holidays, so I need to make it there.
It is so magical around this time of the year. Just all of the lights, and they do have the fountain show, but with the colored lights. And you usually go at night during the evening because you see all the lights everywhere. Oh my gosh, it is spectacular. And the gardens, everything was so magical. If my mom is watching, she's going to be laughing at this. I cried during the fountain show. It was so beautiful. That's when you know you're getting old. I cried. I was like, I'm getting old. This is so beautiful and magical. But I highly recommend, if you haven't had the opportunity to check out Longwood Gardens around this time of the year, it's so, so beautiful. I know that tickets really sell out quickly.
You have to get time slots, right? Is that how it works?
Yep, so I would definitely go check out different time slots. You can go visit the gardens, but just so beautiful. We're so fortunate. We have such a spectacular place so close to home. People from all around the world.
Oh, I believe it.
Travel to Longwood Gardens and visit just the grounds. I mean, all year round. There's memberships available, but really a beautiful, beautiful museum, gardens,
Now I want to go
everything.
today. I'm going to look on the website.
Trust me, go check it out. Go check it out.
So I think what we should do is, our producer Naj is in the back. We should do a field trip there.
Oh, great idea.
On location.
I love that.
She's like, are you kidding me? But no, we should go there.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Good.
So I have to make note and mention, congratulations, Matt.
Thank you, thank you.
Matt is always doing some amazing things in the community, but really just it's important to highlight those individuals who are really making a difference. And I'd like to take this time to congratulate you for being selected amongst many, many individuals in the state of Delaware. He was selected to join Leadership Delaware. Now you have to go through an interview process, if I'm correct.
A rigorous one.
Okay, so
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, they have, we had them on the show. I think you and
Yes.
Ivan did, the great Jen Cohen and Jamie Watts. So shout out to you guys at Leadership Delaware. So essentially what it is in a nutshell is you, you know, you go through sort of an application process and hear about what it's all about. And it's a year-long program. It's intensive. It's, you know, a couple hundred hours in the year. And you hear from, you know, those who are in politics, CEOs of companies, and it's all Delaware-based. They kind of label it an MBA in Delaware.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so they do that, and they go through a rigorous interview process. That it's like speed dating. So you have like 25 people interviewing you, and every 5 minutes they just go around the room and you change, and they ask you really tough questions. It's not like, you know, typical interview questions. It's like, you know, one of mine was like, if you had to change one thing about history, what would it be and why? And you have to think about it on the spot. Like, it's stuff you cannot prepare for. So yeah, I'm super excited. We start in January. I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
And you know what? That's just such a great experience for you, not just for the exposure and the experience, but also networking.
Oh my God, totally.
It just prepares you for the next chapter in your life.
And you know, you think we're in such small Delaware. You think, oh, I know everyone. You know, you know. And these are literally 28 other people I've never met before in my life.
Awesome.
And I've heard people say, you know, these are people you get so close to, you like invite them to your wedding, like super close like that. So I'm super excited to meet 28 new best friends.
Awesome, awesome. So well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, without further ado, we do have to make note and mention all of our guests on the show today. So we have a fun-filled, packed show. We have lots of people today here on set. First and foremost, drum roll please, Motorcycle Santa is on set. If you don't know who he is, you will today. Rocco Malin is here, the Motorcycle Santa. We also have Val Budischak. She is the Executive Director of the Epilepsy Foundation, Delaware. We also have, if you want to make,
sure. Friends of mine from the Wilmington Drama League, Christy Lewis, who's directing The Wizard of Oz, as we mentioned here, I saw yesterday, along with Ariana Clark, who plays Dorothy, and then Jolene Cuisine.
Great stories for all audiences. We deliver independent news throughout Delaware. We are digital platform innovators. And we develop marketing and sales solutions so you can stay connected to your audience. Now, why do we do what we do here on DETV? We do it because we care. So, keep watching and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Remember, DETV, online, on air, on time.
Still searching for cheap gas prices? Dump the pump and ride DART. You can DART to your destination for only $4 all day. Let DART do the driving while you enjoy our free Wi-Fi available on all buses statewide. While scrolling through your favorite apps, don't forget to download DART's free transit app for real-time bus information and enjoy the convenience of contactless fare payment through DART Pass. So what are you waiting for? Dump the pump and try transit. Visit dartfirststate.com or call 1-800-652-DART.
Government doesn't make a move without an agenda, some type of plan. The problem is we haven't been on the agenda. Sometimes we're overlooked. Sometimes our interests aren't the interest of those in power. I'm your host, Kerwin Gaines, on DETV's new show, The Agenda. We're going to do our best to ensure that you, Delawareans, are knowledgeable about what's going on in the Assembly. Federal government, local government, it doesn't matter. We're going to do our best to ensure that folks that make the agenda on a daily basis have to answer for it. Let them explain what they're doing. If it affects you, it's on the agenda.
All right, first up on the plaza this morning is a man we all know and love, especially here in the First State. He is known by Motorcycle Santa. Please welcome Rocco Malin. Hello, Rocco.
Hey, Rocco.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me this morning.
We're super excited
Very
to have
excited.
you on the show.
Very excited.
Super excited.
This is fantastic.
Well, before we dive into Motorcycle Santa, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and are you a Delaware native? Give us all that background.
All right, yes, I'm from Wilmington originally, born and raised. I went to St. Elizabeth for kindergarten, grade school, high school,
Shout
all
out.
12 years. Yep. After high school, I went into the military for a little bit and was in the reserves for a few years. And when I got out of that, I went to Gordie Beacon College and got my business degree there. Bartended for the most part of my 20s and did a lot of traveling and stuff. And recently, now I'm working down at my family's deli down in Newark.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's talk about
Let's dive into it.
Motorcycle
Absolutely.
Santa. So
Yeah.
tell us all about that and what it's all about.
Well, at this point today, it's a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We donate to Ronald McDonald House, AI DuPont, and various families in need. But that's not where it started. Back in 2015 is where it all began. And essentially, I just saw about 2-3 days before Christmas, the weather was about to be 73 degrees. And I'm an avid rider. Any excuse to be on two wheels on my motorcycle, I'm going to take it. So 73 degrees in late December, I was all over it. So then I thought, you know, it's Christmas Day. I can't just ride around. So I ordered a Santa Claus suit on Amazon. And I called a friend of mine, Jay Knowles, who I was in the military with, and said, hey, would you mind throwing on some leotards and dressing up like an elf and helping me out?
That's a good friend.
Yeah. So he was all about it. So then him and I went around Dollar Tree, spent a couple $100 and just bought a bunch of random gifts. And then Christmas morning, I suited up. My suit then was a lot different than what I have on now.
Okay.
And Jay was dressed as an elf, and we just rode around the city with a giant sack full of presents, and we just handed things out to unsuspecting strangers.
No, I went to, I think Rocco and I started in preschool together, I believe.
Yes.
That's how far back we go. So I, obviously knew Rocco when this first started. And it was obviously, it was grassroots, and it started to see where it is now is literally, it's incredible. And I know he's at St. Elizabeth, our high school went to, is so proud of him. He just won a major award there this year.
yes.
So yeah, he did win an award there. Yeah,
Thank you,
so he
thank
makes
you.
a huge difference. He even stops by St. E's, I know you did last year on sort of the ride and say hi to the kids and stuff. So it's just grown exponentially. Even I think the Grinch also accompanies you on your ride.
Yeah. I have pretty much every major characters. The Grinch, Frosty,
amazing.
Rudolph, Elsa. We have all the major characters that join us.
Yeah.
So when is the official ride?
So it's actually this Friday, the
Okay.
16th. We start around 1 o'clock at St. Elizabeth in Wilmington. As an alumni there, they have a Motorcycle Santa group within the school, and the kids actually help raise donations. We have about 22 different small businesses in Wilmington that help raise donations for us. So the kids at the school wrap the gift boxes and help us disperse them. So we start there, and the kids get dismissed, and they bring all the donations out, and we pull everything right in front of the school, and all the kids come out, and they all get to interact. They load all the presents into the sleigh and into the trailer, and we kick things off from there, and that's when the route begins.
Now, can anybody join in on the parade or support?
We have some other motorcycle enthusiasts
Okay.
that reach out, that come, that dress up, but for the most part, it's the bulk of everybody that helps out with the charity throughout the year that start.
Excellent. Wow, it's just grown so much than what, from its, infancy and now where it is right now. And you have so much support throughout the community. I see so many other small businesses, organizations partnering up with you and just really getting that message out there, and like what is Motorcycle Santa and what its what its purpose. And I do have to ask you this question, Rocco. What is your why? Why do you do this?
It's a lot of fun. It's a fun way to do a lot of good. Like the original idea started with, hey, I just want to go hand things out to strangers just to surprise people and make their day. And that morning of the very first year, just seeing people's faces at a red light, pulling up next to them, and there's a bunch of kids in the back, and they get excited, put the window down, handed them presents, and it just kind of made their day, and that's a very good, fulfilling feeling. So the second year, at the time I was bartending, a lot of my bar regulars like, hey, you're going to do that again? That was a lot of fun. And I said, I loved it. I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
So they started bringing donations to the bar. Next thing you know, I had a bar full of donations from all my regulars, and
awesome.
really just kind of grew from there.
So Rocco, where do you, in 10 years from now, where do you see this kind of,
yeah.
you know, imagine where you've gotten in 7-8 years now, where do you see it in 10 years from now?
Well, we have such a good partnership with the Ronald McDonald House, and I'm really, really big fan of what they do. You know, they house people from out of state that come to AI DuPont for medical treatment that they can't get where they're at. And that's something that it resonates with me, that I'm familiar with, having to travel outside of the state for medical care.
Right.
So I really enjoy what they do. So something I've thought long term is maybe doing what we do here with the Wilmington Ronald McDonald House, and maybe doing it in another state with another Ronald McDonald House. And
I love that.
so that's kind of the long-term vision for us.
I think that's a great idea. And you always want to have goals to grow.
Exactly.
Because you are really touching so many families, so many individuals. I mean, everybody I talk to knows who you are. Knows who more. That's why we were super excited Motorcycle Santa was coming on the show today at Good Morning Wilmington, because we knew you're really making an impact.
It really is.
Thank you.
And everybody's talking about it. And I do have to make note of this, Rocco, is you also are a recipient of the Jefferson Awards, Multiplying Good by the Jefferson Awards, which is a huge honor, and congratulates to you. Hats off to you and all your efforts that you're doing in the community. It's considered to be the Nobel Prize in Community Service. So it is a big deal, and I commend you and what you are doing in our community, and continue to do, and continue to inspire, and continue to give back, because we need more individuals like you.
I appreciate that very much.
Oh my gosh, of course, of course. So what do you need? I'm sure there's a need.
How can we help with this last final push?
So Friday, the ride, we start at St. Elizabeth at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And we'll be heading to Charlie Square around 2:30, and then going all throughout Wilmington and down Kirkwood Highway. So anybody, any last minute wanted to donate, they could meet us.
Okay.
We'll be in Charlie Square, Aldergate Church on 202 around 4:30. It's kind of like a last minute opportunity for people reaching out like, hey, how can I help? You can stop at any of those points and bring donations and drop them in the sleigh. And then we'll end that night around 6 o'clock at AI DuPont and then Ronald McDonald House. Nice. So anytime between 1 and 6 o'clock on Friday, we'll be riding around. If you see us, it's a last minute opportunity to donate.
And Rocky, you have a camera crew that follows you too, right? So these are turned into videos every year.
We do,
someone can't see it.
We have a police escort as well.
Yeah.
That really helps out, because it helps keep everybody together, going through all the traffic lights and stuff. And
and for safety purposes.
And safety, absolutely.
Safety first,
right? Now, if somebody can't get there this week or they can't help this week, you do take donations and either monetary or gifts year long, right? To prepare for the ride.
Our website, it's motorcyclesanta.org.
Okay, perfect.
That really has a lot of information on there. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Motorcycle Santa, and we're starting to branch out and do more things outside of just the Christmas season. Like this year, we had a 5K, we had a memorial golf tournament. So there's different events we're starting to build up outside of just the Christmas season to raise more awareness and contribute towards our cause. So once Christmas comes, we're ready to rock and roll.
Literally.
Well, we wish you again so much luck this weekend.
Thank you very
on your
much.
ride, and hopefully, and I'm
cheering you
sure
on.
It's my favorite day of the year.
It'll make the news.
Amazing.
Yes,
oh yes,
it will
I'm
be.
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're very excited for you, but don't be a stranger.
Yeah, please come back.
I'd love to come back.
Let us know.
Absolutely.
As you continue to grow with the organization, if for any future events, don't be a stranger. Give us, a shout out, and we'll be able to promote what is next for Motorcycle Santa outside of the holiday season.
Next year. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
Rocco.
Rocco.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Before we cut to break, Plaid Tidings has a show at the Delaware Theater Company, and they wanted to share some holiday cheer with you. All check it out.
Was the night before Christmas when all through the town. Was the night before Christmas. Was the night before Christmas when all through the whoa in the house, in the house. Was the night before Christmas when all through the house. Bump, bump, bump. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Bump, bump, bump. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. We hope that St. Nicholas soon would be doing what should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 crazy reindeer. On Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer, on Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen. Eggnog pop, humbug, digga digga pop, too much. Eggnog pop, humbug, digga digga pop, too much. Was dressed all in red from head to toe. His guns were on target, as of too much. He had a fat face and his laugh was a mellow, and his tummy would shake like a bowl full of jello. Oh, hop, hop, oh, hop, oh, oh, hop, hop. We got a bowl full of jello. Woo! He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. They filled up his stockings and turned to the dirt, and laying a finger aside of his nose, and they let a nod up the chimney he rose. And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas, Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, joyful solstice, good Hanukkah, and to all a good night. Too much reindeer, humbug, too much. Happy holidays, and to all you've been served. Word.
Glad tidings, Wilmington, from the Delaware Theater Company. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Welcome back. Thank you so much to Plaid Tidings and the Delaware Theater Company for sharing that wonderful performance there. That was great. Now, back to the plaza. We are joined by Val Budischak, the Executive Director of the Epilepsy Foundation, Delaware. Good morning, Val.
Yes. Hi, good
Thanks
morning.
for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're excited
All right,
to have you.
So, Val, tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into the details of the foundation.
Sure. I am a Delaware native, grew up in Wilmington, graduated from Padua.
Okay.
And then I went to Elon University in North Carolina, came home. My parents were excited about that.
Yeah, so they came right back. That's usually what happens for Delaware natives.
And I went to, got my MSW at Temple, and then went on to get my license in social work as well. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, working in that field, and decided about 8 years ago that the Epilepsy Foundation was where I wanted to be. So.
And why is that, Val? What drew you to the foundation?
So I had interest in medical social work. I actually worked at the Ronald McDonald House for 8 years, so it's an interesting connection.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And so I did work with a lot of children who had epilepsy and were coming to get EEGs and things like that. And I have a cousin who has epilepsy, so kind of came into place, and I love what I do.
So before we go in more detail about the Epilepsy Foundation, I think it's really important to always give our viewers more information about what is epilepsy. So not everybody knows. They may know someone or may have heard of it before, but they don't know what it really is. So describe what epilepsy is.
Good question. So before I answer that, I'm going to tell you what a seizure is, because a lot of people, when they think of a seizure, they think of shaking, falling on the ground, maybe foaming at the mouth.
Right.
And that is that is the way that seizures present sometimes, but not all the time. So what's really happening is in the brain. Everybody's brain has electrical impulses that are always going and allow your brain to function. But what happens in a seizure is that it's too much electricity. And depending on where that happens in the brain, you could get different behaviors on the outside. So those are actually symptoms. So the shaking, the falling, the unconsciousness is what we call a generalized seizure. But sometimes it could be, the symptoms of a seizure could be as simple as a brief staring spell, or confusion, or something that mimics other things like intoxication or mental illness. So that's really one of the reasons why we do what we do, because we want people to know what these look like and also know how to respond appropriately to help folks who are having seizures. So what epilepsy is really when folks tend to have more than one seizure unprovoked. So seizures just start to happen, and that's when you get a diagnosis of epilepsy. Some people may say a seizure disorder, it's the same thing. So if you hear people say they have a seizure disorder. It's the same thing as epilepsy, just depends on how you like to say it.
Okay. No, and thank you for that. I was very informative because you're right. People may confuse the two or may not understand, but that does help paint that picture of what it is. So tell us a little bit more about the Epilepsy Foundation.
Yeah, so what we do, we have a couple different arms of our programming.
Okay.
We do support programs for people with epilepsy and their families. So we have support groups, we have self-management classes where we teach mindfulness and relaxation techniques. We have, people can call and get referrals to other organizations or questions about IEPs in school for their children or, discrimination, questions at getting a job and those kinds of things. But we also have training. So we do a seizure first aid certification course.
Okay.
It's a national certification course similar to CPR. It's 2 years, it's free. And we offer it in conjunction with the Epilepsy Foundation of America. We're an affiliate of those. So we do support, we do training, we do advocacy on behalf of people with epilepsy. And we also, again, are affiliate with the national organization, so we support their research efforts to try to find better treatments for people with epilepsy as well.
Val and I were speaking before the show started, and my mom suffers from seizures. She has most of her life, and she has experienced both of the kind that you're talking about. It started as like sort of the violent seizure shaking, and now it's turned into more of the dozing off, through the window, not quite sure what's happening. So I know exactly what you're saying, and the resources are so helpful.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So what would be some early signs of epilepsy? How can someone identify epilepsy? If there's a way to identify it.
It depends on what type of seizure the person is having. If they're having a generalized tonic-clonic, the one I described that most people know about, you probably kind of get an idea of what's going on. If it's more of a subtle form, there's another kind called absence, generalized absence, where it's almost like a brief staring spell for a couple seconds. And the way I tell folks to be able to identify that as a pattern. So folks who have that kind of seizure might have, they last a few seconds, but they could have 50 to 100 a day. Wow. So we train a lot of teachers and we'll say, we're not expecting you to diagnose, but if you see like a pattern of strange behavior where the student is kind of zoning out for multiple times a day, kind of just make a mark of it. And that's helpful when it's a pattern.
And I'm sure that's very helpful in helping come up with the official diagnosis of it, so then you can help treat and move forward for that individual.
Exactly.
I own a small business in Delaware, and I had a former employee of mine that opened up to me and said that they occasionally have seizures. Obviously, very little different than epilepsy, but they have seizures. They actually told me on how to handle it in the event they were to have a seizure, like what are the steps to take. And I was very, very grateful for that because I want to help. I wouldn't know. I don't know anybody that went through what this person was going through, but it was very helpful for me as the employer to be ready, to be prepared, and I appreciated they were so honest with me about their illness and what they were going through. Now, for let's say someone who is not comfortable talking about their condition, what advice can you give them if they were going to apply for a job? And do you encourage them to open up about, their illness or what they're going through, or do you feel that's not a good idea?
It's really a personal decision. What we recommend is when you're going through the application process to go through it just as you would if you didn't have epilepsy, and then after you're offered the job, then if you feel comfortable, you can disclose, and if you need any accommodations covered under ADA, then you can ask for it at that time. But it's really not, they're not mandated to tell folks that they have epilepsy, so it's really a personal decision.
And I was grateful for it because this individual was incredible. I had no idea, but I was appreciative because in the event she were to have a seizure or an emergency, I was able to help. And it made me feel more confident when, in that moment. And I appreciated that. Nothing against that person. It was something more just helping educate me.
Exactly.
And I like that the foundation provides those resources.
Yes, and we can help you talk through it, work through it, decide how and when to disclose, and that's a subject that we talk about a lot in our support groups and things like that.
So Val, what kind of, you mentioned the support groups. For people watching who sort of don't know where to turn, maybe they do suffer from seizures, or maybe they're a caregiver of someone with epilepsy, how can they get in touch and find out more information to kind of get started with the foundation and kind of utilize those resources, find out what they are?
Sure, the best way is to visit our website, www.efde.org, and you can find resources, you can click on our programs, you can find my email. That's the best way to contact me, and I can get you connected with whatever, support events we have, you know, support group parties and outings at a park, and we just try to create a community. And that's what I love most about what I do, is that people support each other, and that's such a powerful tool for living your best life with epilepsy.
And I also want to mention, sorry, that you had mentioned that this is statewide. It's not just
Yes.
Wilmington, not just
Statewide.
Newcastle County, but from
Yes.
Claymont all the way down to Fenwick Island.
Yes.
You guys, you know, cover.
Yeah, and our largest probably supportive community is in Kent County, right around Dover. So we have a really strong group there. So
Nice.
yeah.
So what is living your best life with epilepsy?
Did you like that? It's hard to explain. People with epilepsy, a lot of times it's not the seizures that they identify as being the most difficult thing to live. It's, you know, sometimes there's memory issues, sleep issues, and, you know, can I drive? Things like that. So being able to manage life, everything that everyone else deals with, but also having epilepsy and just being able to thrive, that's what we aim to do.
Could you share with us maybe a success story for our listeners and our viewers tuning in? I always feel it's important to really share a story. If you can come up with one off
sure.
the top of your head.
I mentioned the group that we have in Kent County, and they're very close. There was a young woman about 17, 18, came to the group first with her mom, and you could tell her mom kind of drug her there, and she's kind of sullen. But she was just diagnosed, and she kept coming back, and you could see her blossom through the support of other folks who have had epilepsy their whole lives and were able to, you know, be a nurse and have a family and show her, you know, that you can have a full, healthy, happy life with epilepsy. And now she has her own advocacy group. She does a team for our 5K. So that's what I mean, that support that you find with each other. So
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Before we let you go, we want to ask about events, fundraisers coming up. Anything you can let us know?
Yeah, so we have a spring event. Stay tuned. Check our website, EFD.org, for that coming up late March, early April. Okay. We have a 5K early June in Glasgow, and we have a fun run in Kent County coming up in September. And then November, we always have an epilepsy conference to celebrate Epilepsy Awareness Month, and that's at Christiana.
Calendar. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's great.
EFDE.org,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
So all that information is right on the website.
Yes.
Excellent,
yes.
excellent. Val, thank you,
thank you
so
much.
much
You're
for
welcome.
joining us. Yes, very important information, very informative, and we appreciate you coming on the show to really let everyone know what is the Epilepsy Foundation, and again, continue success with all of your efforts.
Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, Matt, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Quick break. We are coming up next with some of the cast of The Wizard of
yes.
Oz. We're so excited. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Wilmington Drama League's Christy Lewis and friends are up next.
How did DETV start, and how did you get here?
DETV started approximately 10 years ago in the basement of my home. I had an idea to show people of color doing great things, but what happened was I got to the point that I said, I'm gonna just show people all together doing great things. The motto and the moral was to bring people together instead of using media to rip people apart. And doing that, you know, I just did a lot of hard work, a lot of free stuff, a lot of things of just showing people being themselves. I figured that media, and I saw that media wasn't doing that, so I just decided to give it a shot, not knowing that it would bring me to where I am today. I had a great journey doing it, met some amazing people, did some amazing things, worked on some amazing projects, you know, and with just a lot of hard work and a bunch of sacrifice, I'm here today. I done worked on everyone's campaign in the state of Delaware, and now, you know, I'm just doing what I do and doing it with friends. My biggest accomplishment right now would have to be this, hands down, without a doubt. We want to make sure that we inform the community wholeheartedly. So again, they can have all the information that they need. For more information, you can find us at detvch.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook under DETV. Be sure to check us out. Tell me what you think.
Welcome back. Up next on the Plaza is Christy Lewis, director of The Wizard of Oz at the Wilmington Drama League, and she is joined by Ariana Clark, who plays Dorothy, and Jolene Cuisine, who plays Glinda. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I have to tell you, I just saw the show yesterday afternoon. I think it was your third show of your run. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
It was a packed house, as I was telling Vincenza, packed.
Awesome.
And it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. So I sort of want to talk about the roles, and then I want to get into Christy's vision about she really overhauled The Wizard of Oz. Really, she really did.
It's very different than the
what you might be used to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's just fantastic. Yeah. So I want to start out with your roles. Let me start with you, Ariana.
I'm Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz.
Excellent. And then I want Jolie.
I play Glinda, the Good Witch.
Glinda, the Good Witch. Okay. And then Christy, how did you get started? I guess with give us a little bit of background on Wizard of Oz for you. Let's start there.
So the Wilmington Drama League will do the shows over again, repeat the same show, but not for 10 years. So 11 years ago, we did The Wizard of Oz, and I played Dorothy, and I am obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. It is my favorite musical.
Was so good.
Right. She had 11 years to plan this out.
Right, no, but for real. So I had a Wizard of Oz bedroom growing up. The Christmas tree is all Wizard of Oz ornaments. And 11 years ago, when we did it, I said, well, next time I'll be too old to be Dorothy, so I'll just be the director. Well, I don't think I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, but it actually happened, and here we are.
That's awesome.
And so it was amazing. And growing up at the Drama League, it has been such a privilege to have this opportunity to bring this story to life in a little bit of a different way. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ariana, how did you get started into acting?
I got started when I was about 13. We did a show, and we actually were able to use the Drama League through my middle school. And since then, one of the choreographers from the show invited me to do a show that he was directing, and ever since, I just never stopped. I loved it.
Never stop. Well, from what Matt said, you did a phenomenal
job. She's the best part of the show.
Right? I mean, Dorothy.
I mean, come on. It's bigger than that, right?
And I'm sure that this is only the beginning for your career, too. Yeah. And are you a Delaware native?
Yes,
okay.
Born and raised.
So born and raised, and this is only a stepping stone, because before you know it, Broadway.
Right?
That's the goal.
That's
Christy
what we're hoping.
has friends that she has worked with who have made it to major Broadway shows.
She's next.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jolene.
You're up.
Tell us about your background and how you got into acting and
So
whatnot.
funny enough, my everyday self, this is, I don't wake up like this, shockingly.
Are you sure?
It takes a lot of time and a lot of money to look like this. But my everyday self back 11 years ago was the lion when Christy was Dorothy.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice little full circle for me to come back to the Drama League. I got my acting, performing roots there. Ever since I am a Delaware native as well.
Okay.
Moved back to the area in 2020 and got started as a full-time drag queen. So I host, drag bingos, drag brunches. I work at the Crimson Moon, which is the Wilmington's only gay bar, and do a lot of, just wonderful performing through those avenues.
Right. Do you, I guess you would say, have other or host other drag brunches throughout the state, or is it just at Crimson Moon?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I host some shows myself. I also work with a lovely network of drag queens.
Okay.
Most of them are Delaware natives.
Okay.
And we do a drag brunch at the Queen. I don't host that one, but I get to work there frequently at the Queen. I host one in Trolley Square at Logan House.
Okay.
So yeah, we get to bring drag everywhere in Delaware. I do one down in Smyrna too, so it's not just Wilmington.
Excellent, excellent. So going back to the Wizard of Oz and whatnot, so when was the opening show? When was the first day?
We opened on Friday, the
and
9th.
how long will it be going
we
on
play
for?
through the end of the month till
Okay.
December 28th.
Plenty of opportunities.
Yeah,
for
we have
people
10
to
performances total.
Oh, yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get right into it. How can people come out and support?
Yeah,
tell us
so
how.
you can get tickets through the box office. You can call the box office or online, wilmingtondramaleleague.org.
Okay.
And there are tickets still available, but they're going quick.
They sure are.
So get them now while you can.
Excellent, excellent.
sure.
So you have to make sure you make the time, purchase your ticket,
Yes.
or you'll miss out. Now, let's talk about the Wilmington Drama League a little bit more
Sure.
outside of the Wizard of Oz. I'm sure there are other shows that happen throughout the year.
There are.
So are you already planning for the next few shows?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about
There's
that.
a lot of stuff going on. If you walk into the Drama League on any given day,
Okay.
there's probably 4 different rehearsals in different rooms.
Okay.
There's stuff, you know, going on all over the place. They have a great network of children's programming, lots of community outreach. They're a nonprofit organization, always looking for volunteers. So if you're interested in getting involved, there is something for everyone. It's a great place. It's a very family-oriented community space, and I can't recommend it enough.
They're celebrating their 90th season.
Yes.
Wow. So they are
So they've been
truly
around
a Wilmington
forever.
institution.
Yes, absolutely.
Down on Lee
Yeah.
Boulevard, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Christy, I want to ask you, when you know, so you did this 11 years ago, you said, this show, and when you were thinking about how you wanted to recreate your vision, you know, this isn't the typical one that you would stick in your VHS and watch that we all did as kids, right? It's different. What made you want to sort of modernize it? What was so important to you in your vision?
Question.
That's a great question. So the Wizard of Oz movie came out in 1939. So it's a little bit, it's ready for a little bit of an update.
Right.
And growing up, I loved the Disney Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston, and it's so good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And they just celebrated their 20th anniversary, and they did a TV special. And they were talking about how revolutionary that musical was when they put that movie together. Because Brandy didn't look like the Disney Cinderella that we were so used to. And I thought, well, why does Dorothy have to look like Judy Garland? And Judy Garland is wonderful, and that movie is you know, everything to me. But I wanted to make the Wizard of Oz reflect where we are now in our world, and I wanted to make sure that everybody that came to see the show saw themselves represented on our stage. So it was so important to me to find a cast of exceptionally talented people who also represented everyone in our world. And why, you know, if this magical land of Oz can be this amazing melting pot of people, why can't our home also be that? And so that is what I hope people get out of coming to see this show, is that it truly takes a village, and we are that village, and everybody should see themselves on stage represented and traveling to the land of Oz.
Yes, yes. Ariana, just to shift gears a little bit, what inspired you to become an actress?
It was mostly my parents
Okay.
and the people that were around me in theater. Like when I first started, I was really nervous about it. Like I wasn't sure if this was like the road that I wanted to go down.
Right.
But as I started doing more shows and opening myself up to the world of theater, I was like, this is really nice, and I love being on the stage and being able to perform, and especially getting the reaction from like audiences, because it's like, you give people a show and they're happy and they love it so much, and it's like, this is good. Like it feels nice to give back.
Right, and that adrenaline.
Yes.
Right?
Theater is such an accepting place. You know,
Right,
it's truly like nothing else.
Very accepting.
Such a great, loving environment, you know? People you want to surround yourself with.
Wow, I have such an appreciation for the performing arts. I grew up surrounded with, you know, in the performing arts. I was a dancer. Growing up, ballet, tap, jazz, and hip hop and point, and so I was always no stranger to the stage, right? When the lights, you know, the curtain goes up, the lights are on, it's showtime, right?
We need you to audition for a show. Come on.
Come on now, exactly, right.
We got Matt, so come on, you're next.
Gosh, I don't know if I'd be able to do it all, but
definitely
I do love theater.
Yeah.
I have such
It's
an
so special.
I have such an appreciation because it just takes you out of the, you know, your everyday life, and you go and you watch a show, and it's so thank you, exactly what I was looking for. You know, escape and to not only feel entertained, but also the joy it brings, and you know, you don't. It's live, you know, in person versus going to the movies, and I love going to the movies.
And I think that's something that our production does really well, is when you walk in, you're not in Delaware anymore. You truly are somewhere else. And we tried to make it really immersive, and there's bubbles and there's snow and there's lights and
I mean, you
and
get 3D
it is-
glasses when you walk in the door.
Yeah,
You are not
really?
kidding.
We
Yeah,
are not
they are not messing around.
This
Not
is
messing
so
around.
interactive.
Yeah.
It is, and that's what it should be. It should
Yeah.
be totally an escape from. We need an escape from reality,
Yes, we
right?
do.
Especially around the holidays.
Right, word of the day. Right, word of the day.
Jolene, I want to ask you, how does it feel being a drag queen cast as Glinda? Because that's significant, it's historical, and so many other important things. What does that mean to you as a performer?
So there was a lot of conversations that were had. Christy and I are old friends, so kind of like pre-auditions, it was something, would this be something you would even consider? Right. And there was a lot of, just given the world we live in today, there's sometimes some hesitation with it. But I think what really kind of sealed the deal was, opening night when Dorothy says, when Glinda appears, bubbles and all, and Dorothy says, "Now I know we're not in Kansas," and it's just really like
a good laugh. Yes,
we heard a little bit in the audience go, "Oh, that's right."
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just kind of shows that like Glinda is the personification of what is over the rainbow. You know what I mean? And what more than that than a drag queen? You know what I'm saying?
What a great opportunity for all those kids in the show too, to like never know anything different than that this is the norm, right? And that was really important to both of us, I think, as well.
Yeah. And the Munchkins are, I'm
God,
like a
so
superhero
Famous.
to them. When I come in, they just look at me like, well, how long does it take for you to do your makeup? All that stuff.
So speaking of little ones, Christy's young son also is in the show.
Yes, my dog, Sully, plays Toto. It's a full family affair. My husband did the set and the lights and designed everything. And our dog plays Toto, and he did something
phenomenal.
else.
I would say he was hamming it up there, and Ariana was so great with him, and he was great.
Oh man, some days better than others, but.
Well, we are coming to an end to the interview. Clearly, we can be
we could talk all day with you all.
morning with you guys, but we wish you so much success, and remember to break a leg, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. There you go.
The productions, live productions, break a leg, and if there's any other information you want to just give out, to our viewers, let us know real quick. So
Follow us on social media. The Wilmington Drama League has Facebook, Instagram, all those things, and definitely get your tickets and come see these two. They're amazing. The whole cast is wonderful.
Yes. We'll go on a date. We'll go together before it closes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so fun.
You'll have to let us know when you come.
Yes, we will do that. All right.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Troubles smell like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. So
guess we're ready to start back.
All
That was
right.
a beautiful performance by Ariana.
Love that.
Absolutely amazing.
The show's phenomenal. Honestly, if we can get there, you would love it. I'm a person that doesn't check his phone. He checks his phone sometimes. Didn't even look at my phone. Flew by.
Really,
It was amazing.
really. I
Yeah.
mean, just that sneak peek, we were able to hear her voice. Ariana's voice is so beautiful. Just the Wizard of Oz itself is iconic.
Yes.
And to be able to have incredible performers right here in Delaware, in Wilmington, Delaware, performing the Wizard of Oz, and it is a modern take on it,
Yes,
which I love.
love that.
Very out of the box.
Inclusive, representative.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I appreciate that. So break a leg to all the cast members. Good luck. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show, and hopefully I'll be able to check it
Yes,
out
yeah, I
with
would love
you.
that.
You're going to take
Yeah,
me,
we're gonna
right?
go on a date.
All right, moving on with the show. We have a packed show this
Jam-packed.
morning. I mean, we're not done yet.
Not done
so
yet.
last on the plaza are members of the Delaware Center for Justice. We have Dave Beaver, Kaylin Richards, and Anthony Stenziel. Thank you so much for
Welcome.
joining us today.
Thanks
yes,
for
thank
having
you.
us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course, of course. All right, Dave, I'm going to start with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement with the organization.
I'm the executive director of the Delaware Center for Justice. I've been there for a little over 3 years. The organization has been around for over 100 years.
Okay.
We began in 1920 as the Prisoners' Aid Society of Delaware and evolved over the last century to really be, we think, the premier criminal justice serving organization, serving people who are justice impacted, people who are in the system.
Okay, okay. Now, Kaylin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I started at DCJ in 2017 as the office coordinator and communications assistant, and I absolutely loved what I did because I got to talk to everyone in the organization about their programs, and it really prepared me for the role that I have now in the organization, and that's director of policy. And so now I'm able to advocate down at Lake Hall for our clients and all the issues that I witnessed them face firsthand as office coordinator. So it's really exciting.
Excellent, excellent.
Last but not least, Anthony, tell us a little about your role.
Sure. So I started at the Delaware Center for Justice in June. I started as an employment specialist.
Okay.
So my work takes me statewide. So I provide employment and educational services for individuals who are currently on community supervision or probation. I recently just got a promotion.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I'm now the director of reentry vocational services. So that encompasses job training, education placement, and employment placement throughout the state.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
Great team here. A lot, yeah, it's a great
Yes.
team.
We think so.
Yes, we think so too. All right, so Dave, let's dive into it even more. So what is the Delaware Center for Justice and its mission?
Our mission is that we listen, we amplify, and we act to seek justice for all Delawareans through advocacy and services. And that means that we are not only, have Kaylin's work, which is down at Lake Hall, and really trying to transform the system to make it better, but we also provide daily services for folks at every level of the criminal justice experience. Okay. We have programming for young folks, we have programs for adults, folks who are, in the community, and we're trying to get them diverted out of the system, folks who are incarcerated or youth who are in detention, and of course reentry, which has been mentioned, which is our largest endeavor.
Okay, let's talk about that some more in detail. And Kaylin, you can chime in if you feel comfortable talking more about it.
Sure. So one of the things that I think both of them have mentioned is our work with people on probation.
Okay.
And one of the policies that we want to see passed next year is to allow for the expungement of non-conviction records for people who are serving terms of probation, incarceration, and parole.
Okay.
So current law says that if you are serving a term of probation, incarceration, or parole, you're ineligible to have any case expunged from your record. And that's harsh. That's a little punitive, very punitive actually, because what that means is folks are unable to expunge records that they weren't even convicted of. So we have someone who recently came to me looking for an expungement because she was wrongfully accused of a crime. And because she's on probation for a very old offense, she can't get this new record expunged because she's on probation. It has nothing to do with the old record.
Wow.
Yeah, and so now she has to go find a new job with that new record on her criminal background, and she has to explain it because it's still visible to employers. Yeah.
I want to ask also about the DCJ's reentry expansion for adults, and can you explain that to us a little bit more?
Yes, for over 20 years, we served Newcastle County exclusively. In 2019, we moved our case management service into Kent and Sussex, and then expanded even further in the middle of the pandemic to include transitional reentry, which allowed us to literally be at the prison gate and have folks who are themselves formerly justice involved. They know the system, they know what our clients are up against, to be there to get folks around for those first 90 days that they're out. So they can really acclimate better to the changes. And of course, Anthony joined us as part of an expansion this year. And we also were able to bring on what we called a systems navigator, whose job is exclusively to go around the state and help connect folks with expungement, like Kaylin talked about.
It seems like the organization provides more than just educational resources, but support. And I think that's what's really, really important, like you said, with the transitioning. The support and making sure that you're there, not just, you know, we're here to help you, we're here to hold your hand if you need it and provide that support and the resources, and I think that's really, really informative and helpful. I did have a chance to visit the website and see all that information that is on that website, and thank you for having such an informed website that's full of those resources and full of that educational tools for individuals who are going through this experience. Now, Anthony, tell us a little bit more about your new role.
So my role now encompasses youth reentry and adult reentry. So basically any individual who is justice impacted, who is serving a term on community supervision or on probation, either youth probation or adult probation, they'll be able to connect with me for employment and educational services. So and that's statewide. Kind of what Kaylin was talking about with our policy work. Some of the hardest barriers I think individuals face when they first come home are, how am I going to get a job that's not just a temp agency or like a cleaning business? Like, no disrespect to any of those, because we work with a bunch of really fantastic employers, but how do you elevate somebody to move into middle-level employment? How do you do that with someone who, is not even found guilty of a crime, and they have this charge that's on their record, and now you're shut out of finance, you're shut out of healthcare, you're shut out of all of your top industries, you're shut out of management, and even cash handling and sales, something like that. So it's my job to be able to help navigate that. And I meet with them directly at the probation offices. I meet with them in the community. My phone was going off with 4 calls before 9 o'clock this morning with individuals who just came home who were like, my probation officer gave me your name and I'm going to connect with you this week. So
You play such a huge role. So important. What you're doing for these individuals who just don't know what to do and need that extra support. So thank you for what you're doing, and this new role that you have, and I guess you would say this promotion, if you want to call it, but I think it's more so something that is needed. Yeah, really needed.
We have a fantastic case management team too that I heavily rely on. We have a case manager at each of the probation offices. We have the 3 peers that Dave talked about for transitional reentry. We have a transitional case manager, and then all the work that our systems navigators and our policy directors are doing. It's really important that we all lean on each other, and we're a fantastic team. So
kudos to you all.
Kaylin, I do have a question for you. Could you describe or explain a little bit more about what is the LEOBOR?
Yes, so it's the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights, also known as LEOBOR. It's a policy here in Delaware that basically shields officers from any level of accountability because it makes their disciplinary records completely confidential. And so that means that community members who feel like they were wronged by police, we have no way of telling if the officer has a history of doing these things. Attorneys who are representing clients may hear that there's one officer who is violating rights while they're conducting arrests, or there's an officer who is known in the community for police brutality, but we can't prove that because we don't have access to their records. And so it creates kind of like this shield, like I like to call it. And what we would like to see here in Delaware is we would like to see that policy amended to allow for access to police disciplinary records, as well as the creation of civilian review boards. And that's groups of community members who care about police and community relations. They want to see it improve, and they want to have meaningful conversations with those officers. But in order to do that, we need access to disciplinary records first.
Caitlin, staying with you, can you tell our viewers a little bit about the non-convictions bill?
Yeah, so the non-convictions bill is something that I talked about just a few seconds ago, and it's the bill that would allow for people who are serving terms of incarceration, probation, and parole access to expungements if the case was terminated in their favor. And so that means that the case did not result in a conviction. They were not convicted, they were not guilty.
Okay, okay. Anthony, what is the impact, justice impacted individuals that you were talking about before? Can you give us a little more information about that?
So individuals who are either currently on probation, maybe they are on pretrial and they're waiting for their official sentence to kind of come through, whether they be found innocent or guilty in that case. Or individuals who have already gone through probation, successfully discharged, and now they're still in that limbo period where they're not eligible for but they're having barriers when it comes to seeking additional education, employment, and some community resources.
Dave, I just wanted to ask Dave before we kind of adjourn here, if our audience and viewers at home are watching and say they need some help, they don't know where, maybe they stumbled into something in their past and they're trying to wipe it off their record, or they know somebody, their son, their daughter, a cousin, whoever it may be. How do they get started? Maybe they're afraid to ask, maybe they're embarrassed. How can they first get started with reaching out to DCJ?
Well, if there's really a core theme to everything DCJ does, it is helping folks overcome barriers. So please, we're here to listen, we're here to help. Go to our website, call us, email us, let us know, and we will connect you to whatever service we provide that suits your needs.
And what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you?
Probably to call our office.
To call the office,
yes,
okay.
302-658-7174.
Great.
Excellent, excellent. Was there any other additional information that we did not ask that you wanted to share with us and our viewers?
I would just share that we have an expungement clinic coming up on MLK Day.
Okay.
It'll be January 16th at the Chase Center. It's being hosted by the Delaware.
They can
Yes.
pop in? Okay,
Yep.
great.
You can check our Facebook page out for more information.
And obviously, if you care about our work, please go to our website, dcjustice.org, click the donate button.
There you go.
Absolutely. And give, please.
Always looking for donations,
yes,
which is important.
And then if you are an employer that's watching, I would say it is the holiday season. Everyone's hiring for the holiday season. But please just reach out to us if you're open to hiring justice-involved individuals, giving individuals a second chance. You can connect with me directly through the website. My number's there. My phone never is turned off, so please just call me.
Yes, and thank you for what you're doing for our community and for the state of Delaware and these individuals that are going through this tough time. They do need that support and a second chance.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you.
Dave, Caitlin, Anthony, thank you so much. We appreciate you
for
being
having
here.
us.
Thank you for having
And
us.
please come back. We would love that.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt.
Another show.
Another
Thanks,
great
partner.
show. Oh my gosh.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you for joining me.
Yeah, anytime. I love
Ivan,
it.
where
Thank
are
you.
you?
I know. Is he coming back?
You're
What's
coming back
happening? I
now. It's
don't know.
okay. I'm so excited to guest co-host with Matt Ford and also Kaylin that comes on occasionally. We're it's always a treat.
Big family.
Oh
right?
yes, it is. It's one big family, and but we do miss you, Ivan.
We do.
So
Come back soon.
yeah, come back soon. All right, so we have to take this time to thank our sponsors.
Wonderful
At this time,
sponsors.
we'd like to thank DART, Balance Strength and Fitness, and Wi-Fi Internet Services. We're super excited for everyone that's tuning in. Please make sure you follow us on all social media platforms and support, like, share. I'm all about it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Give us a like.
All right, you have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you on Monday.
Take care.